My son Matthew was a passenger in a car that was struck head-on by a drunk driver on February 12th, 2022. Matthew was with us in the hospital for 27 days when he finally succumbed to his injuries on March 10th, 2022. Advice I would have for other fathers or even mothers, parents in general, is to make the memories. Spend the money, go on that vacation, buy those tickets. Truly, it doesn't matter in the end, because what you're gonna have is those memories of your family. So make the memories. Matthew Mark Dennison was born on June 18th, 2004. We had decided, since we already had a daughter, we didn't know the gender of our daughter before she was born, but we decided we wanted to know. And people say sometimes that when you do that, it takes all of the surprise out of it. And I believed that until Matthew actually appeared that day. The big surprise was he had a full head of hair. He was ready for a haircut the moment he came out. And he actually did get that first haircut 1 month after he was born. Unlike his dad, he had a tremendous head of hair. He was trying to learn how to ride a bike at 4 years old. And he had all of the safety gear on, the helmet and the elbow pads and all that stuff. And I didn't think he was quite ready for the training wheels to come off. What I didn't realize one day is that he had taken them off himself. And I was standing in our dining room and I saw a blur out of the corner of my eye go by outside. And he was going up and down the walkway into the driveway, and he had set up a jump. And he was jumping, and I didn't think he was ready for the training wheels to come off, but that was Matthew. He just wanted to push the boundaries all the time. And I'd like to say that I was a little upset that he didn't listen to me about the training wheels. But as a dad, it was kind of a cool moment. He decided, okay, Dad, enough is enough. They're coming off, and I'm gonna do my thing. And he was fine, he was great. Matthew and I shared a lot of hobbies together. We both loved to ski. We both loved to fish. Later on, into his teens, he wanted to start playing golf. And boy, was he a terrible golfer. As great as he was at hockey, he was just as bad at golf. It was quite embarrassing, but he didn't care. He didn't care. We golfed, and you know, stroke after stroke after stroke, and he just kept going and going. He loved it. But yeah, we did do a lot of things. He was a great skier. We loved spending time on the boat fishing, and you know, there was so many things that we loved to do together. We both had a love for hockey. Even though I didn't play it, he did. We would love to sit there and debate, you know, NHL during the days when I was a kid versus NHL today, and the differences, and there were just so many things. Our love for American muscle cars, Corvettes in particular. We both love Corvettes, and we had a lot of same interests. There are so many moments I felt so proud to be Matthew's dad, whether it was on the ice. He had so many accomplishments. His high school team won a state championship, and he was a huge part of that when he was an underclassman. And he demonstrated a lot of leadership with that. And that's what led to him eventually becoming the captain of that team when he was a senior. But to be quite honest with you, and it's almost unfortunate, I've become so proud of him since he's passed. And the reason is, so many people have come to us and made us aware of so many things we weren't aware of with Matthew, and how he affected their lives, and how they looked up to him, or they could count on him. There were just so many things that we didn't expect that people came out with, that it was a tremendous amount of pride with our son. Words to describe Matthew. There are so many. Funny, sarcastic, he was a jokester, he was sensitive, believe it or not, athletic, life of the party. He could be serious at times, and he was a leader. He really was. And We didn't get to know how much of a leader he was until after he passed, when so many of his friends came to us and told us what he meant to them and how they looked to him for guidance in so many ways. So yeah, we could go on and on and on. There's so many words. Messy, that's for sure. Never wanted to clean his room, which we got on him quite a bit about. But now it's part of the charm. I wasn't sure the floor in his bedroom existed for quite a while, because you couldn't see it. You know, I'm lucky to say that I'm the father of both a girl and a boy. And there's a big distinction between the two. When you're raising a daughter, you feel as if you're the protector, but it's mom's job to show her how to be a young lady and a woman. But with a boy, you're building a man. And I've said that often to people, is obviously, especially with a teenage boy, there are moments that are uncomfortable. But you have to realize and never be sorry for those moments, because it's part of building a man. And I could look back and there were some difficult moments where you had to teach a difficult lesson. But I don't regret that at all, because I know that he came out of the other side of that being a better man. And that's what he's shown me today. If I had the chance to speak to Matthew one more time, there's so many things I would say. There's the obvious. I love you. I miss you. But then there are other things, such as I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud to be called your dad. You made it obvious to me in your passing that I did something right. We did something right. I would also say I'm sorry. I'm sorry for the way you left this world with an incredible amount of pain and suffering, and that your body was taken from you. That I'm sorry that you didn't get to fulfill a life that I promised to you. A life full of learning, experiences, tough lessons, happiness. I feel as a father, that's what we promised to our kids. And although I realize it wasn't through any fault of mine that Matthew left us, I feel like in a certain way, and this is what's difficult to put into words, that as a dad, I have failed. And again, I don't mean that in a way that I could have done anything differently that night. But when you have kids, you want to give them everything in the world. And I made promises to my kids and to my family that they were going to live a certain kind of life. And Matthew did do that, but just not nearly long enough for me. Although I was building a man, I wasn't nearly done. There was a lot left to do. And unfortunately, we didn't get to do that. So I know that, based on conversations with Matthew and with everything we've come to learn about him, that he wanted a family. He had a very well-defined plan in his head. As his parents, it wasn't the plan that we, at least not the timeline that we had set out for him. He wasn't done with hockey. He was going to play a year or two of junior hockey before he went into college, hopefully to play hockey in college. And then he wanted to be in the military, Air Force in particular. And then he wanted to be a police officer. And he wanted that from the time he was about 7 years old, and he never wavered from that. He wanted to be a police officer. And I think what was robbed from this world is, and no offense to Wesley over here, he was going to be the best police officer this world has ever seen. And I'm sure you can understand that from how I'm saying it, but we are positive he would have been the best police officer this world has ever seen. One of the most comforting things is we've done a lot since we've lost Matthew in terms of his foundation, and working on legislation to change some things. We can see what differences are being made, and especially when somebody comes up to you and says, you're making a difference. Because sometimes you question that. It's a lot of work and you don't always see the fruits of that labor, but when somebody does come to you and says, you're making a difference, then it hits home. And you know that it's time to keep pushing and keep working and never let it go. And we will never let it go.